Chosen one, your intellect has evolved into something so devastatingly sharp that opposition forces are spinning in circles, trying to decode what you've become, and the revenge fantasy burning in their minds will never materialize because you've transcended their entire game. Your mind is now an untouchable fortress that turns every scheme against you into fuel for your unstoppable ascension. The cosmic court has been in session for months, building a case they never saw coming. Evidence has been gathering like storm clouds on a horizon they refuse to acknowledge. Every whispered conspiracy, every calculated betrayal, every attempt to undermine your foundation has been recorded in ledgers maintained by forces that operate beyond their comprehension. What they dismissed as coincidence, you've begun to recognize as orchestration. What they attributed to luck, you now understand as divine intervention wearing the mask of circumstance. Your enemies have been operating under a fatal assumption that you're playing the same game, competing for the same finite resources, seeking validation from the same corrupted sources. While these forces moved pieces on a chessboard, you've been learning to manipulate the very fabric of reality itself. Their strategies work on people trapped in scarcity consciousness, but you've been accessing abundance frequencies that render manipulation tactics not just ineffective, but laughably primitive. For years beyond counting, certain individuals have been obsessed with cracking your code. Not the healthy fascination that comes with admiring someone's success, but the corrosive fixation that keeps them scrolling through your life at 3 in the morning, analyzing your posts for hidden meanings, gathering intelligence they believe will somehow give them the advantage they desperately need. Opposition forces have formed alliances built entirely around a shared inability to understand how you continue to rise despite combined efforts to see you fall. You weren't just surviving their attacks, you were being forged by them. Every betrayal that should have broken your spirit instead strengthened your discernment. Every financial setback that should have left you desperate instead taught you to operate from faith rather than fear. Every family dysfunction that should have damaged your capacity for love instead clarified your boundaries and deepened your compassion for those still trapped in toxic patterns. The protection system activated around your life operates on principles they've never encountered. Your intuition has been upgraded to frequencies that allow you to perceive their intentions before they've fully formed them in their own minds. Your energy field has become so refined that deception literally cannot survive in your presence. Lies dissolve, manipulation tactics backfire, and hidden agendas become transparent as glass under the intensity of your elevated consciousness. While hostile forces have been studying your surface moves, you've been developing capabilities that exist beneath perception levels. Your intellectual capacity has expanded beyond their ability to track or anticipate. Your emotional intelligence has evolved to depths they cannot fathom. Your spiritual awareness has reached altitudes where their attacks cannot reach you, leaving them throwing stones at stars, exhausting themselves in futile gestures against forces they lack the equipment to measure. The whispered campaigns orchestrated against you, attempts to paint you as fraudulent, artificially enhanced, too good to be true, are about to collapse under the weight of evidence to the contrary. People who matter, people with real influence and authentic power, are beginning to recognize what you've always been, a genuine force operating from natural magnetism rather than manufactured charisma. The contrast between your authentic radiance and their synthetic presentations is becoming too obvious to ignore. Your financial situation is transforming in ways that will leave them questioning everything they thought they knew about how money flows in the universe. Resources are seeking you out with supernatural precision, arriving through channels they never could have predicted or prevented. Opportunities that seemed locked behind impossible requirements are opening like automatic doors responding to your presence. The abundance consciousness you've been developing is beginning to manifest in tangible forms that will serve as undeniable proof of the principles they've been mocking. But the most devastating blow to carefully orchestrated campaigns against you isn't coming from any action you'll take. It's emerging from the behavior of opposition forces themselves. The obsession that drove constant monitoring of your every move has become a prison that cannot be escaped from. They've invested so much energy in studying you that they've neglected their own development, creating gaps in their armor that are beginning to show. Their attempts to copy your style, your strategies, your very essence have left them hollow, wearing masks that slip more frequently as the pressure of maintaining false personas takes its toll. The cosmic justice system operates on timelines that transcend their impatient need for immediate gratification. While they've been demanding instant karma, the universe has been constructing consequences that match the magnitude of their actions. The protection around you isn't just defensive, it's actively redistributive, taking the energy they've directed against you and transforming it into fuel for your elevation. Their hatred has become your healing. Their jealousy has become your joy. Their curses have become your blessings through alchemical processes. They lack the spiritual sophistication to understand. Your voice is carrying new authority that cannot be argued with or dismissed. When you speak now, there's an undercurrent of power that demands respect, not through force or manipulation, but through the unmistakable presence of someone who has claimed their rightful place in the cosmic hierarchy. People find themselves paying attention to your words in ways that surprise even you, seeking your opinions with newfound reverence, recognizing wisdom in statements they might have overlooked before your transformation became complete. The creative abilities that have been developing in secret are about to explode into public view with such force that even you will be surprised by their intensity. Projects that seemed too ambitious are completing themselves with supernatural ease. Collaborations with people you admired from afar are materializing as natural progressions rather than distant dreams. Your creative output is becoming not just prolific but prophetic, touching lives and changing perspectives in ways that confirm your role as a conduit for higher consciousness. Physical transformation is accompanying your spiritual evolution in ways that seem to defy conventional understanding of how aging and stress typically affect human appearance. Your radiance is improving not through desperate measures or expensive interventions, but through the glow that emerges when someone finally steps into their authentic power. People are commenting on something different about your energy, your presence, your very essence, unable to identify exactly what's changed but knowing instinctively that you've become something more than you were before. The romantic connections entering your life now operate on completely different frequencies than past relationships. Instead of drama and emotional chaos, you're attracting partnerships that amplify your power rather than drain it. The universe has finished sending you lessons disguised as lovers and is now delivering connections that support your mission and complement your energy rather than compete with it. These new relationships serve as proof that you've healed the patterns that once attracted dysfunction into your intimate life. Your living situation is upgrading to reflect your elevated status, whether through improvements to current circumstances or relocation to environments that better match your evolving consciousness. Spaces that once felt confining are opening up. Locations that once seemed unattainable are becoming accessible. Arrangements that support your highest good are presenting themselves with perfect timing. Your external environment is reorganizing itself to match your internal transformation, creating harmony between your inner state and outer circumstances. Career opportunities that seemed locked behind impossible requirements are suddenly opening as if by magic. Skills you've been developing in obscurity are becoming highly sought after. Connections you made years ago are bearing fruit in ways you never anticipated. Industries that once seemed closed to your participation are actively seeking your involvement. The professional recognition you've been working toward is arriving not as a reward for future effort, but as acknowledgement of preparation you've already completed. The family dynamics that have been sources of pain are shifting dramatically as your new energy either transforms toxic patterns or creates boundaries so clear that dysfunction can no longer touch you. Relatives who were sources of drama are either healing their behavior or removing themselves from your presence. Generational patterns that seemed impossible to break are dissolving under the power of your conscious transformation. Your family line is being elevated through your individual evolution in ways that will benefit generations yet to come. But perhaps the most profound change is happening in your relationship with yourself. The harsh inner critic that once tormented you with doubts has been replaced by an inner knowing, so strong it cannot be shaken by external circumstances or other people's opinions. You've stopped seeking validation from sources that could never truly see your worth, and started operating from an internal compass that guides you toward opportunities and away from situations that don't serve your highest evolution. The obsession your enemies have maintained is intensifying into something approaching panic as they realize their window for causing you harm has permanently closed. The protection around you has become so complete that even thinking negative thoughts about you creates uncomfortable consequences in their own lives. They're discovering that the universe takes personal offense to attacks against its chosen ones, and the cosmic enforcement of your protection operates with swift and undeniable efficiency. Your capacity for joy and celebration is expanding to match your expanding success. Where once you might have felt guilty about receiving good things or worried about others' reactions to your happiness, you now understand that your joy serves a greater purpose in the cosmic plan. Your celebration of your own victories gives others permission to claim their own greatness. Your refusal to dim your light for others' comfort becomes a beacon that guides other chosen ones toward their own awakening. The time for hiding your magnificence behind false modesty has permanently ended. The universe invested too much in your preparation to have you waste your activation by playing small or pretending to be less than you are. Your full emergence into your power isn't just personal fulfillment, it's a cosmic necessity, a required element in the greater plan that depends on chosen ones stepping fully into their roles without apology or hesitation. Your intellectual prowess has become so refined that you can see through deception instantly, predict outcomes with startling accuracy, and navigate complex situations with ease that borders on the supernatural. The mental agility you've developed through years of having to stay several steps ahead of those who wished you harm has evolved into a strategic brilliance that makes you virtually impossible to outmaneuver. Your mind has become a weapon they cannot counter, a fortress they cannot penetrate, a maze they cannot navigate. The copying behavior that once annoyed you has become almost amusing as you watch others exhaust themselves trying to replicate something that cannot be manufactured, borrowed, or stolen. Your essence, your energy signature, your particular brand of magnetism emerge from depths they haven't begun to explore within themselves. They can imitate your style, repeat your words, even mirror your strategies, but they cannot access the source from which your power flows, and their attempts only highlight the vast difference between authentic brilliance and desperate imitation. Financial abundance is flowing toward you now, not through luck or chance, but because you've finally aligned with your true worth and stopped accepting situations that undervalued your contributions. The universe abhors a vacuum, and when you stop giving your energy away for free or settling for compensation that insults your value, resources begin flowing from sources you never could have anticipated. Money isn't just coming to you, it's seeking you out, drawn by the magnetic field of someone who finally understands their own worth. The spiritual support system activated around your life would seem fantastical to those who don't understand how reality actually functions. Ancestors who walked this path before you are lending their strength to your mission. Guides who have been waiting lifetimes for someone worthy of their instruction are working through your intuition. Forces that specialize in protecting chosen ones have been assigned specifically to your case, creating an energetic fortress around your life that deflects negativity and amplifies blessings. Your enemies have been playing checkers while you've been learning multi-dimensional chess from cosmic masters. Their strategies work on people who operate from fear, scarcity, and ego validation, but you've transcended those frequencies, which renders their manipulation tactics completely ineffective. They keep using the same playbook against someone who has evolved beyond the game they're trying to play, and their confusion about why nothing works against you anymore is growing into desperation. The vindication you've been waiting for is unfolding not as a single dramatic moment, but as a sustained revelation that builds momentum over time. Each day brings new evidence of your true position in this cosmic hierarchy. Former enemies are beginning to realize they've been fighting someone far above their weight class. Fair-weather friends are discovering they've been taking for granted someone whose friendship was actually a privilege they didn't deserve. People who dismissed you are starting to understand they've been overlooking someone destined for greatness. As this transformation reaches its crescendo, you're beginning to understand that everything you endured was precise preparation for the level of power and responsibility you were always meant to wield. Every difficulty strengthened necessary muscles. Every betrayal clarified essential boundaries. Every loss created space for something far better to enter your life. The chosen ones have always been among us, but this era marks their emergence from preparation into activation. The same obsession that drove your enemies to plot against you has become the very force that ensures they cannot look away as you claim everything you were meant to have. Their attempts to dim your light have only served to demonstrate its inextinguishable nature. The cosmic court that convened in secret has reached its verdict, and the sentence is being carried out through natural law rather than human intervention. Your complete and total victory was never in question. It was only a matter of divine timing. The universe that seemed to be testing you was actually preparing you. The forces that appeared to be working against you were actually working for you in ways too sophisticated for limited understanding to grasp. The story that began with others underestimating your potential now reaches its inevitable conclusion with their awed recognition of your true nature. Welcome to your era, chosen one. The cosmic court has rendered its final judgment. Your enemy's obsession has become their undoing, and your transformation is complete. The universe has been waiting, your time has arrived, and nothing they ever did could have prevented this moment from coming. Their revenge fantasies have become your reality upgrade, their hatred has become your healing, and their attempts to break you have become the very foundation of your unbreakable power. Your intellect has become something they cannot categorize or contain. Where once they could predict your responses and manipulate your reactions, they now find themselves facing a mind that operates on levels they lack the equipment to measure. Your cognitive abilities have been sharpened by every attempt they made to outwit you, creating a mental fortress that not only defends against their schemes but actively turns their own strategies against them with surgical precision. The sophisticated way you now navigate conversations leaves them reeling, unable to pin down your true thoughts or intentions. Your responses carry layers of meaning they cannot decode, references they cannot track, and implications that unfold only after you've already moved several steps ahead of their comprehension. When they try to corner you with their usual tactics, they discover you've already anticipated their approach and prepared responses that neutralize their advantage while simultaneously exposing their motivations. Your pattern recognition abilities have evolved to supernatural levels, allowing you to spot their recycled manipulation techniques before they've finished deploying them. What once might have caught you off guard now appears to you with the clarity of someone reading a children's book, each move telegraphed so obviously that you almost feel sorry for their amateur attempts at psychological warfare. Their desperation to figure out your new operating system has led them to reveal more about their own limitations than they ever intended to expose. The way you process information now defies their understanding of human cognitive capacity. Your ability to synthesize complex data, see connections across seemingly unrelated fields, and arrive at conclusions that prove accurate with startling frequency has them questioning whether they ever really knew you at all. The person they thought they were dealing with has been replaced by someone operating from intelligence frameworks they cannot access or replicate. Your emotional intelligence has reached levels that allow you to read micro-expressions, vocal tonalities, and behavioral patterns with the accuracy of a master interrogator. Their attempts at deception now seem laughably transparent as you effortlessly decode the subtext beneath their words, the agenda behind their seemingly innocent questions, and the fear that drives their increasingly desperate attempts to regain some form of psychological advantage over you. The revenge they keep expecting, the retaliation they keep bracing for, never materializes in the forms they can recognize or defend against. Instead, your elevated consciousness operates on principles that make their entire concept of revenge obsolete. You've transcended the need for direct confrontation because you understand that their own actions are generating consequences more devastating than anything you could deliberately orchestrate. Your refusal to engage in their preferred battlefield has left them shadowboxing with phantoms while you continue ascending to heights they cannot reach. Their confusion about your motivations has reached critical mass because they keep trying to apply their own psychological frameworks to understand someone who has evolved beyond their level of consciousness. They expect you to respond from ego, fear, or wounded pride because that's where they operate from, but your responses emerge from spiritual principles they've never encountered. Their inability to predict your moves has created a feedback loop of frustration that's driving them to increasingly erratic behavior. Your newfound ability to remain emotionally detached from their provocations while simultaneously maintaining strategic awareness of their actions has created a tactical advantage they cannot overcome. They're fighting someone who refuses to be drawn into their preferred arena of chaos and drama, leaving them exhausting themselves against an opponent who has already moved beyond the conflict entirely. Your serenity in the face of their storms has become more devastating to their plans than any aggressive counterattack could have been. The intellectual curiosity that now drives your learning has created an exponential expansion of your knowledge base that leaves them perpetually behind in any attempt to keep pace with your development. While they've been focused on tearing you down, you've been building intellectual capital that compounds daily, creating an ever-widening gap between your cognitive capabilities and their static understanding of how the world operates. Your ability to synthesize information from multiple sources and arrive at insights that seem to emerge from nowhere has them convinced you're either accessing information they don't have or operating from intelligence networks they cannot penetrate. The truth is even more threatening to their worldview. You've learned to think in ways that transcend their entire paradigm of how human consciousness functions. The linguistic sophistication you now demonstrate in your communications carries undertones and implications that operate on frequencies beyond their reception capabilities. Your words achieve multiple objectives simultaneously, creating positive outcomes for yourself while neutralizing potential threats in ways so subtle they don't realize they've been outmaneuvered until long after the conversation has ended. Your verbal precision has become a form of psychological aikido that redirects their aggressive energy into outcomes that serve your purposes. Your memory has been enhanced by the trauma they inflicted, creating perfect recall of every slight, every lie, every moment of betrayal they assumed you would forget or forgive. But instead of using these memories for revenge, you've transformed them into a comprehensive database of human psychology that allows you to predict and counter similar behaviors from others. Their attempts to gaslight you into questioning your own recollections have backfired spectacularly, creating an indelible record of their true nature that cannot be revised or manipulated. Look, you already know the game is rigged, and if you're paying attention, you know the walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. When you live by the day at the market's command, where profit and property rule the land, to be heard, to be held, to be dealt a fair hand, these are the things that a people demand. And we hear you. The obsidian inner order has paywalls, yes. Those who stand with us, who fuel this mission, they give us ammunition to fight the archons, to push back against the machine, to go deeper, to uncover more. And as our thank you, paid members get access to a 1-hour live, personalized weekly group tarot reading guidance, insight and clarity for the road ahead. But kicking a man for being down on the floor, that's something we cannot ignore. That's why starting today, you can steal the Astral Atom exclusive daily newsletter for free. No paywall, no catch. Just join the Patreon free tier link in the description. This is the start of our conversation with you, and it's bi-directional. You can reply to any email we send you. We'll read it, we'll hear you, and we'll do our best to get an answer to you from the universe itself. If you can support, we need you. If you can't, take what's free. The Obsidian Inner Order is open. Now let's get back to work. The way you now sequence your reveals of information keeps them perpetually off balance, never knowing what you know or when you might choose to deploy your knowledge. Your timing has become impeccable, releasing just enough truth at precisely the right moments to achieve maximum impact while maintaining the mystery that keeps them guessing about the full extent of your awareness. This strategic ambiguity has become one of your most powerful weapons, allowing you to control narratives without ever appearing to be manipulative. Your analytical abilities have been refined to the point where you can deconstruct their arguments before they've finished making them, identifying logical fallacies, emotional manipulations, and hidden assumptions with the precision of a master debater. Their attempts to confuse or overwhelm you with complex explanations now backfire, as you immediately isolate the core issues they're trying to obscure and address them with devastating clarity. The multidimensional thinking you've developed allows you to consider problems from angles they cannot perceive, arriving at solutions that seem impossibly elegant in their simplicity. Your approach to challenges now incorporates spiritual, psychological, practical, and strategic elements simultaneously, creating responses that address not just the immediate issue, but the underlying patterns that created the problem in the first place. Your intuitive faculties have been so finely tuned that you often know the outcome of their schemes before they've finished planning them. This prophetic awareness isn't supernatural. It's the result of pattern recognition so advanced that you can predict human behavior with startling accuracy based on minimal data points. Their inability to surprise you has become a source of increasing frustration as they realize their psychological advantage has completely evaporated. The philosophical framework you've developed provides unshakable foundations that cannot be undermined by their attacks on your character, your motives, or your worthiness. Your understanding of universal principles has given you reference points that transcend their opinion-based reality, making you immune to the emotional manipulations that once might have destabilized your sense of self. Their words simply bounce off the armor of genuine self-knowledge you forged through surviving their previous assaults. Your research capabilities have expanded to include not just information gathering, but pattern analysis across time periods and contexts that reveal historical precedents for their behavior. You've learned to recognize the archetypal patterns they're unconsciously following, which allows you to predict their next moves with the confidence of someone who has studied this particular drama across multiple iterations. Their assumption that they're unique in their approach has been shattered by your demonstration of how thoroughly you understand their psychological blueprint. The creative problem-solving abilities you've developed turn every obstacle they create into an opportunity for innovation. Your mind now automatically generates multiple solutions for any challenge, allowing you to adapt to changing circumstances with fluidity that leaves them struggling to keep up with your countermoves. Their static thinking cannot compete with your dynamic approach to navigating complex situations. Your ability to compartmentalize information allows you to engage with them on surface levels while simultaneously processing deeper layers of meaning and planning long-term strategies they cannot detect. You've mastered the art of operating on multiple levels of consciousness simultaneously, maintaining pleasant interactions while your deeper awareness tracks their true intentions and prepares appropriate responses. The mathematical precision with which you now calculate social dynamics has given you predictive powers that seem almost supernatural to those who don't understand the algorithms you've internalized. Your ability to forecast the social consequences of various actions allows you to navigate group dynamics with the confidence of someone who has already run the calculations and knows exactly how each scenario will unfold. Your psychological resilience has been forged in fires they lit but cannot withstand themselves. The mental fortitude you've developed through surviving their sustained campaign against your sanity has created an unbreakable core that cannot be shattered by future attempts at psychological warfare. Their assumption that repeated attacks would eventually break you has instead created someone impervious to their most sophisticated manipulation techniques. The energetic boundaries you've established operate with such precision that you can allow beneficial influences to reach you while automatically filtering out toxic energies they attempt to transmit. Your auric field has become so refined that their negativity cannot penetrate your space, leaving them exhausting themselves against defenses they cannot see or understand. Their hatred simply cannot reach you anymore, creating a feedback effect that amplifies their own suffering while leaving you untouched. Your communication style has evolved to include multiple layers of meaning that reward deeper understanding while remaining accessible to surface-level interpretation. This allows you to satisfy different audiences simultaneously, building alliances with those who can appreciate your sophistication while avoiding conflict with those who operate on simpler levels. Your diplomatic skills have reached levels that allow you to navigate complex social situations without creating unnecessary enemies. The intellectual humility you've developed paradoxically makes your intelligence more powerful because you're constantly learning and upgrading your understanding rather than defending fixed positions. Your willingness to evolve your thinking keeps you perpetually ahead of opponents who remain trapped in static worldviews, creating an ever-expanding gap between your adaptive capabilities and their rigid responses to changing circumstances. Your ability to synthesize ancient wisdom with cutting-edge knowledge has created a hybrid intelligence that draws from sources they've never encountered. Your reading comprehension spans disciplines they've never explored, creating cross-connections between fields that generate insights they cannot anticipate or counter. Their specialized knowledge cannot compete with your integrated understanding of how multiple systems interact and influence each other. The circle closes where it began, with their obsession and your elevation, but now transformed through the alchemical process of divine justice into something they never saw coming, your absolute and undeniable dominion over every force that ever dared to oppose your destined ascension. Their attempts to figure you out have become the very mechanism of their undoing, while your refusal to seek revenge has become the most devastating victory of all.